Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our review of the Brooks Hyperion Elite 3. So Hyperion Elite 3 is Brooks's top of the range carbon racing shoe. It sits above the other shoes in the Hyperion fast shoe range like the Hyperion Max and Hyperion Tempo as the most expensive racing option with a carbon plate. It's £190 in the UK, $250 in the US. It's got an 8mm drop with a stack height of 35mm at the heel and 27mm at the forefoot. And it's quite a heavy shoe for a carbon racing shoe. It's 249 grams or 8.8 ounces in a UK size 9. Now, that's a bit of a jump in weight on Hyperion Elite 2, which was 223 grams in my UK size 9. And that's all down to the change in upper that Brooks has put on this shoe. This new quick knit upper is quite a thick knitted upper. It's quite a roomy one. It's a comfortable one, but it's certainly a lot heavier than the thin mesh you had on the Hyperion Elite 2. That upper might have caused some problems in terms of the fit of it, but yeah, it's a slightly odd decision Brooks has made here just to replace it with a much heavier knitted upper. Beneath that upper, the shoe is the same as the Hyperion Elite 2. You've got a DNA Flash midsole, which is a nitrogen-infused EVA foam with a carbon plate running the length of it. You've got Brooks's rapid roll rocker geometry set up there, which is also used in shoes like the Hyperion Max. And then you've got a thin rubber outsole with coverage on the forefoot and at the heel with quite a lot of exposed foam in the midfoot there, but that is all this DNA Flash foam, which is a fairly resilient foam, so it shouldn't be too much of a concern in terms of durability. This has fit quite big for me, the Hyperion Elite 3. I've got my normal size here in UK, EU and US sizes. Across the board, it's my normal running shoe size, and I've got a bit too much room in the toe box that I'd like, especially in a racing shoe. I want a slightly more dialed in feel, so I'd probably look at going half a size down myself. I have a fairly narrow foot, and I'm usually a little bit small for my size, but yeah, this has got way too much room in the toe box for a racing shoe, in my opinion. Hasn't really been a problem on the run though. I've had no slippage or moving around. I've been held securely at the midfoot and heel. That whole design seems quite good on this shoe, but it does come up a little bit big in my opinion, so I'd look at maybe sizing down. So first run I did in Hyperion Elite 3, we've got a video up on the channel. I did a 23k run with a progression 7 kilometers in the middle, moving from around 345k to 330k, and was quite disappointed by the shoe as I said in that video. It felt pretty nice and cruisy at the slower paces either side of that progression, and it was fast enough to get through that feeling okay, but certainly lacked the explosive, propulsive feel you expect from a carbon super shoe like this. It's got quite a flat, stable feeling, but none of the squish and pop of some shoes, or a very smooth and aggressive rocker or anything like that. I don't really feel the rocker on the shoe that much at all, I have to say. And yeah, it left me feeling a little bit like, okay, I enjoy doing a long run in that shoe. I nearly always find with Brooks's DNA Flash shoes, or actually any of their shoes, that the longer you run in it, the more you tend to enjoy their shoes. They've got a very consistent feel. They never bottom out or anything like that. But at the same time, it didn't really wow me, and the times I was enjoying the shoe the most was mostly just at easy paces when I was probably running a little bit faster than I'd expect for the effort I was putting in. But that's not really what you're looking for from a carbon shoe. You want to excel at the fast stuff, and it really felt like it lacked a little bit there compared to other shoes I've been testing. And to be honest, in the run since, I've gone on and done a couple more hard runs in the shoe, and it's probably, I like it even less now than I did after that first run. I did a progression 10k, moving from easy to steady paces, and then a steady 10k in around 36 minutes, and just, yeah, was just left wanting by the feeling of the shoe. Like, it gets you through those runs, it's got a stable feel, but you know, I've done those kind of runs in lots of different shoes, especially like the easy to steady run, something I do in pretty much every shoe I test, and that's from like, you know, big heavy cushion shoes, daily trainers, through to carbon racing. And I run to kind of effort or heart rate. It's usually just to effort, and I check my heart rate as well, and I usually have a good idea about what the paces will be coming out. I've done this run so many times in all different conditions on different surfaces, and when I see what I was putting out in the Hyperion Elite 3 and the effort it was involving, it really did feel much more like a training shoe than a carbon super shoe. Like, doing an easy steady run in a shoe is normally a bit of a treat for me in a carbon shoe, because something, you know, it's my daily training. I'd normally be just doing it in a normal shoe, but doing it in a carbon shoe is great because the last, you know, few kilometers where I'm moving through the gears to steady paces, you feel amazing because you're running really quick because you're in a carbon shoe. And in this, that just wasn't the case. It feels much more like a plated training shoe. It feels a lot more akin to things like the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 or the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 or Asics Magic Speed 2 in terms of what I get from it when I'm running at those kind of training paces. And even there, I think I prefer those other shoes because they're a bit lighter, you've got a bit more of a rocker, the foams are better in them. This is just a big, you know, high platform, stable platform of pretty good foam, but not an amazing foam. And what I think it really had going for it in the past was that it was a very lightweight foam. DNA Flash, like the Brooks Hyperion Elite 2, was a slightly more stable carbon shoe than most. It was nice and light. You could run quick in it. I did some really hard sessions in that shoe and enjoyed using it. And now it's just a bit heavier, and that takes away, I think, from the appeal of this foam, which was that it is quite lightweight and a bit different to other stuff on the market. I don't really understand why Brooks made those changes, and I certainly don't think they've made them a better shoe or one that is at all competitive, either as a carbon super shoe or even when you're putting it against the plated training shoes that are out there these days that cost a lot less and are lighter and just a bit more impressive. So yeah, I didn't dislike running in the shoe. I just really felt like it didn't give anywhere near as much back as you get from other shoes. It's just got quite a flat ride, and you know, it's fine, but it's not a £190 shoe or a $250 shoe. It's looking at the rest of the Brooks range. Like if you're doing short, sharp sessions, I would certainly much rather be in the Hyperion Max, for example. It's a lightweight shoe, nimble, same foam, but just a really lightweight feel to it. Whereas this is better for longer stuff. The times I've enjoyed this shoe most have been on long runs or cruising around at an easy pace. And it feels really good for that. It's actually quite similar to what I had with the Hoka Carbon X3. It's just, oh, this is quite a fun shoe to cruise around in. I'm running pretty well here for just an easy pace, but you know, you don't need that. It's nice to feel good on your easy runs, but you can do that in nice, comfortable, much cheaper cushion shoes that cost under £100, rather than splashing out on a carbon shoe that then doesn't really impress when it comes to the crunch of fast runs and race day. So yeah, all in all, my run experience with the shoe has been a bit of a letdown. I don't really understand the changes made, and I don't really feel like it's that competitive in the market it's in. So I think the Brooks Hyperion Elite is a bit of a miss, unfortunately, for the brand. The Hyperion Elite 2 wasn't like a brilliant carbon racing shoe, but it was a shoe that had some appealing characteristics in being nice and light, pretty nimble, decently stable for a carbon shoe, and a shoe you could certainly use for fast running. The changes made to the Hyperion Elite 3 haven't improved the midsole, which is a little bit behind what other brands are offering, and then have just made the shoe a fair bit heavier. It's now the same weight as things like the Alphafly 2 or the Adios Pro 3, which are just far more propulsive, explosive shoes, like really amazing shoes for running quick at any distance, and this just doesn't have anywhere near that level of bounce. Like, there's an idea here that maybe if you want a more stable shoe and you don't really get on with some of the carbon shoes, then there's a case of looking at this. You know, this is quite a stable shoe and it's a fast shoe, but don't come in expecting the level of performance you get from super shoes like the Adios Pro 3, the Alphafly, the Vaporfly, the Endorphin Pro, the Rocket X2, all of them basically. On that basis, the price is way too high, and even if it was a fair bit cheaper, it would be butting up against excellent training partner shoes like the Asics Magic Speed 2 or 3 now, and the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, which I preferred running quick in to this shoe. So that's obviously a big blow against it. If the other brands are putting out actually their second tier training partner shoes that I think have a bit more of a lively ride, a bit more performance in them, then Brooks has really got to go back to the drawing board, I think, with the Hyperion Elite 3. They've got some good fast shoes in the Hyperion range. The Tempo and Max are a bit different to what else is on the market. They're quite like natural feeling shoes that are very lightweight. They're not supercharged in terms of the stack height, but they are really fast and fun to run in, and the foam is very consistent and reliable, and they kind of work as an alternative to what's available on the market. But the Hyperion Elite 3 doesn't really, because it doesn't provide a convincing alternative to what you can get from carbon shoes in terms of performance. It's just a bit too heavy, it doesn't return energy in the same way, it's not as comfortable and soft, it just doesn't really match up across the board. And then even actually comparing it to the other shoes in the Hyperion range, if I was going out to get a fast training shoe, I'd probably look at the Hyperion Max, just because it is that so much lighter, a bit cheaper, and probably more fun for things like track workouts who are doing short reps, because this is quite a big shoe and it's certainly quick. You know, it's not a problem that it's a big shoe, but I don't really know what I'd use it for apart from cruising around long runs when I could use pretty much any shoe. So fortunately, this is a miss for Brooks. Like, Brooks is really smashing some areas out the park. They're obviously very good on their training shoes, but I think they're still behind when it comes to top tier carbon racing shoes, and we'll see. Hopefully that's something that changes soon. Like, most brands who have been behind have got it together, and I think Brooks will in the future, but for now I'd be avoiding the Hyperion Elite 3 myself. So that's our review of Hyperion Elite 3. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please do like, subscribe, ring the little bell. See you next time.